Hello, welcome to this week's cook along. We've got a lovely winter menu for you this week, I think. We've been doing a lot of pasta at the start and the feedback's been really great. So we're continuing with pasta this week and we're going to do a real kind of, my take on a real classic. So really simple, this starter. Just got 3 ingredients for you. So first of all, we've got the pasta, and as before, as I described in previous weeks, we use really top quality pasta. I don't know if you can see, this is rough. It means it's extruded through a bronze die, not a Teflon one, and it's very slow dried with really good quality durum wheat flour that it's made with. This is going to hold the sauce better, and also the starch from it creates a bit of an emulsion, so it kind of makes the sauce stick to it. So beautiful pasta. And then we've got a ragu here that's made with wild venison. It's got wine in there, it's got amazing organic tomatoes, lots and lots of herbs, etc. Couldn't be easier, this really, just a big pan of water. Season it really well for 2 reasons: to season the pasta, and also the salt actually hardens the gluten within the pasta. So this pasta takes a while to cook. We're going to have it al dente, but you want 14 minutes. So pop it in there, set a timer for 14 minutes. One thing I will say is it does have a tendency, this, to stick to the base of the pan, so make sure you give it a stir periodically. And if you just come over and look in the pan, we want the pan having a sort of rolling boil like this. This kind of agitates the pasta and helps to stop it sticking. If it's too flat, if it's not boiling at all, it will tend to stick. But if you just come back to me in 14 minutes, we'll finish the dish. One thing I forgot to say is get your bread on before your pasta. So basically set your oven to 200 degrees. I know that's slightly higher than we normally do, but because we're going to need it for 200 for the main course. And you give your bread about 10 minutes in there. This is nearly cooked now. That's the timer. So I'm going to strain it off, and I'm going to reserve a tiny little bit of the pasta water. I'll explain why in a minute. So pan back on the heat. Put my sauce in. Now you could have some lumps of meat in your sauce. If you have, make sure you break them up, because we're going to cook this sauce really quickly. You don't want to reduce it. Don't reduce it down or it'll stick and it'll get too thick. We're just warming it through. Like I say, little bits of meat like that. Make sure you crush them up. It just wants about a minute so it's completely heated through. So now I've rapidly drained my pasta, so there'll still be some water sticking to it. If when I put it in here it's too dry, I'll add a little bit of pasta water I reserve. So give it a real good stir. And if it's clumping together at all, then you're going to need a little bit of that water. Mine doesn't look too bad. Now a quick little trick I'll show you. Just take some of the Parmesan we've given you and just grate it into here. And then mix this through. And again, this helps to kind of thicken the sauce, and it sort of coats the pasta. And then we'll put a bit more over the top. Stir it in. Right. Some more bowl. Now just finish it with a little bit more Parmesan. It's jumping on me. That's it. Enjoy. So on to our main course, which is duck. We've got duck here. This is some dauphinoise potato. I've just made a little tray out of tin foil. I do this all the time because I don't like washing up, and I think they're quite cute. We're going to cook it on that. You can just put it on a baking sheet though. And then we've got here, this is my favourite part of the dish. It's a puree of burnt and smoked carrots and roast orange. So it's, yeah, I really love this. It's got an amazing kind of complex flavour. I've given you a bit more of this than you need, so you don't need to use it all because it's very, very strong. You can save it for another use. Then we just got some Cavolo Nero that's been pre-blanched for you. Some jus here that's made with red wine. Lots of herbs, particularly thyme, garlic and orange as well. So we're going to start off with the duck. So cold pan initially. Just going to season the duck with salt on both sides. Be generous because most of the salt will come off. And I just pop it into the pan. Pan's cold at the minute, I'm just going to wash my hands. So what we want to do here is render a lot of the fat. Now these are really, really nice ducks. They're very similar to a wild duck, like a mallard really. They don't have a big thick layer of fat as some of the cheaper duck breasts that you get have. And they've been dry aged as well. So they don't take quite as much rendering. What we want to do is start in a cold pan, bring it to a medium heat, and then as the heat starts to affect the protein, you'll see that it starts to tense up like this. So what we need to do at that stage is just take a spoon or a spatula or whatever and just press it like that into the pan. Hold it there. And we need to render this for about 2 or 3 minutes. It'll just start to slightly cook the flesh, but mostly the fat's going to insulate it. Now, unfortunately, we can't really specify the size of the duck breast. Some are thicker, some are thinner, some are longer. The one here I've got here is quite a small one. Obviously, I tried to save the larger ones for you. So with this, I'm only going to cook this in a 200-degree oven. It's probably only going to take about 5 or 6 minutes. If it's larger, it could take 7 or 8 minutes. Now, don't worry about that because what we can do is, before we actually plate everything else up, we'll rest the duck and we'll slice it. Don't overcook it thinking, oh, I'll just give it an extra minute just to make sure. If it's undercooked, we slice it first before we put anything else on the plate. We can just put it sliced back in the oven for another minute or so, just so it's cooked through. So I'll just show you, we're just starting to get some colour on there now. Needs to be a bit more, needs to be kind of like this all over. So you just come back to me in a minute when it's fully rendered. Right, so my duck's nicely rendered now, so if you come and have a look at the skin, nice and golden brown. So I'm going to pop this in the oven set to 200 degrees. I'm going to pop this tofuwaza in at the same time. And I'm going to check it after 5 minutes. I'll just talk to you about to tell how it's cooked by touching it. But both of these in the oven now. Remember when you come to get this out of the oven, the pan will be red hot. So people do burn themselves when I do these videos. I know it sounds crazy, but make sure you're wearing an oven glove or you've got a thick towel or whatever, especially if you've been drinking wine while you're cooking. So my my breast has been in the oven for 4 or 5 minutes. Now this is a particularly small one. What you're looking for is, you want it to be relatively firm. So if you press it and it's really soft, and it's kind of just expanding out slowly, then it's raw. This is quite well cooked. Now, as I say, some of them are a lot larger than this, so they're going to take a fair bit longer. We get this prepped. As I say, we're going to rest it now for a few minutes. This is really small, so it'll only need about 3 minutes resting. If it's larger, you might need to rest it for 5 minutes. We're going to slice this after it's rested. If it's not cooked enough, we'll just put it in slice back in the oven for a minute or so while we prepare all the garnishes. but this one should be cooked perfect. So if you just come back to me in a minute when it's rested and we'll finish the dish. So my duck's rested. I've just warmed the puree in the microwave. You can do it in the microwave or a pan. I've warmed the jus as well. Got a pan on here. This pan is still hot. The dauphinoise potatoes are still in the oven. They take a little bit longer to cook than the duck, possibly. We're just going to warm this through the Cavolo Nero in the actual fat of the duck. Just a little bit of seasoning on there, that's all it needs. Things that are bitter, like cabbage, need a fair bit of seasoning because salt actually lessens bitterness, so it'll make it taste sweeter. So just dress it in all that duck fat. Right, so I think we're ready to plate this now. So I'll just check my my duck. That's perfectly cooked. Pop it on there. So I'm going to get my dauphinoise first and put those on the plate. Put my cabbage on. I'm just gonna add a little bit more seasoning to the top of the duck, just a little bit of salt. Now I've got my puree. Now, as I say to you, this, I absolutely love this, but it is very strong. So just a little bit. And then a little bit of the jus again. The jus is really strong, so not too much of it. Although we are in Yorkshire, I know we like us gravy. Go on then, I'll put a bit more on. So there we have it. It's our aged duck breast, dauphinoise potatoes, Cavolo Nero. We've got an orange red wine jus, and this is a puree of smoked carrot and roast orange. One thing I forgot to say with the main course is if you've got a meat thermometer, and I know a lot of people bought them over the summer to use on the barbecue, etc. Take your duck breast to 50 degrees internal temperature, and then during the resting period it'll rise to about 57, and that will be cooked perfectly. Right, brand new dish, brand new dessert. I always get a bit excited when it's a new dish. So it's kind of a bit of a tropical vibe going on. We've got pineapple here. Now, you've got a few options with how you cook the pineapple. You can just pan fry it. Just put a little bit of sugar on it, a little bit of caster sugar. You can pan fry it and just caramelise the sugar. You could use a blowtorch. I'm just going to do it under the grill. So obviously you've got to watch it like a hawk. It will burn. So I'm just going to put it under the grill, keep an eye on it, and it's going to cook pretty rapidly within a minute or two. The garnish that goes with it is we've got some of these little crispy passion fruit things. There's a salted caramel that I've made here that's flavoured with black pepper. We do a lot of kind of our takes on crumbles, and this one's pretty cool. It's a crumble mixture that's made with oats and toasted pineapple and maple syrup. And then we've got this mascarpone here that's flavoured with spiced rum and Madagascar vanilla. So I just need to just grill this, and I'll come back to you when this has been grilled. So I'm just going to get my pineapple out. So you can see, you don't really need it caramelised, but it's melted the sugar, it's nicely warmed through. That's going to be fine. So I've just warmed the salted caramel up. I've warmed the crumble up as well. You can either do that in the microwave, or again, you can do it in the oven. If you're going to do it under the grill, be careful because obviously it will catch. If you're going to microwave it, you'll be surprised at how long it takes because there's not any water in there. It's going to take a little bit longer to heat up than you'd think. So just to plate it up, really simple. Just pop it in the bottom of the bowl. And there's no way of making this look elegant, it's just a kind of quite a rustic dish. Just get a little bit of my mascarpone. Let's put that on there. Then we're just going to top it with some of the crumble. So this has got nice toasted coconut in it as well. Sort of caramel. Be generous with this. And finally, just put on some of our crispy passion fruit. And that's it. So grilled pineapple with coconut crumble, black pepper salt or caramel, and spiced rum mascarpone. I just want to say thank you again for the amazing response. Everyone's been absolutely amazing. It's great to sell out of our cook-alongs. If you could share your meals on social media, we'd really appreciate it. So it's Instagram, it's the_kitchen_and_cook. On Facebook, it's Gourmet Dining Room, on my personal Facebook, Michael Price. Just really helps us getting the word out there. Obviously, we're in tier 3 at the minute, so it's really, really amazing to have you supporting this cook-along. Thanks ever so much. See you next week, and if you want to book on next week's, just send Tony a message or send me a message and we'll get you booked on. Thank you.